All right, in this video, we're going to talk about the imaginary unit, an imaginary number. And to start out, x squared plus 1 equals 0. Mathematicians years ago, they said, well, what's the solution to this? This is before complex numbers. Well, they said it can't be 1 because 1 squared is 1 and 1 plus 1 is 0. It can't be negative 1 because negative 1 squared is 1. And again, we get 1 plus 1, and that's not 0 either. So they couldn't figure out what the answer was. And they said, well, you know what? If x is the square root of negative 1, when you square that, it's going to be a solution. So they define the square root of negative 1 to equal I. And they called this the imaginary unit. The reason why the mathematician that came up with us called it imaginary, it's not that it's pretend. They just thought, this was years and years ago, they thought there'd be no application for this. So they called it imaginary. However, there are a lot of applications to this. So this is the main thing we want to know. Let me just write this down again. I is the square root of negative 1. Now another thing we want to know is notice if we square both sides, we get I squared. And when I square a square root, they cancel each other, and we get I squared is negative 1. So for the work we do in algebra with complex numbers, these are the two things we really want to know. Third thing is, what is the definition of a complex number? So a complex number is any number a plus bi, where a and b are real numbers. Yeah? So any number like this, for example, 5 plus the square root of 3i. That's an imaginary, a complex number. This is the real part, this is the imaginary part. But that's what a complex number is. So the next videos, we'll do some work with adding, subtracting, multiplying, and so forth with these complex numbers.